Okay, here where it's warm and dry, let's take a quick look initially at the Security-9, the new handgun from Ruger. This is designed and or targeted for possibly the small compact duty market, and also very likely compact concealed carry market. And it's sized just about right. It is just about a Glock 19 size pistol, so, call it what it is, but for a basis of comparison, that's just about the size we're looking at. It is a hammer-fired, sort of an internal hammer. Double action only. However, there is no restrike capability, so the hammer will not fire unless it has been charged by the reciprocation of the slide. So the only thing that brings that hammer back is the action. And then you have a dead trigger. Pistol does have an external manual safety. The safety can only be engaged when the hammer is cocked. Right now it is not, and I cannot push that lever up. Cock the hammer, then you can engage the safety. It is a sort of a reverse pivot. If you're thinking about a 1911 safety where it hinges at the back, pivots toward the front, this is reverse. It's hinged up at the front, pivots this way. Up is on safety, down is off safety. I always like to say red for ready. Has the slide stop, slide release control right here in front of the safety. No controls for left-handers, so only right-handers need apply. And at first I thought this really tiny little magazine release button was going to be a functional challenge. That's my way of saying thought it was going to be a problem. But it turns out it doesn't seem like it is. It's easy to acquire without really changing my grip, and it works extremely well. So, having not yet fired the gun, I'm very impressed with that. The last thing we see on the outside of the pistol right here is the takedown pin. I'll show you the way that works in a minute. It's pretty simple. The gun has fixed sights. It is the cup and ball or Glock type underdog rear sight. They are both drift adjustable. They are both polymer in construction. So there's some of your cost savings right there, what make this pistol so affordable. The frame of the pistol is, of course, a synthetic material. It is a glass-filled nylon type of polymer. And the slide and barrel are blued alloy steel, so they are not stainless steel. Trigger has a trigger safety. And I will talk about the trigger action, how that feels, and some of the specs there in a minute as well. Here's just an overall quick look. Dude, you're killing me. I'm working here. But here's the quick out-of-the-box type of look initially. Gun comes with 2 magazines. If you can read the number on that magazine, this is a 15-round magazine. So we have 15 plus 1 capacity. Okay, you guys that are always wanting my videos to be shorter may get your wish with this one because it's about 15 degrees out here. But at least there's a breeze and some flurries flurrying about. So I'm going to try and make quick work of this, but I'm still going to try and make thorough work of it. First 100 with the new Ruger Security-9. I've had this gun now for almost a week in my little hands and haven't got a chance to shoot it yet, so I'm really kind of anxious. The first 100 rounds is going to be Sig Sauer Elite Performance 124 grain ball ammo provided by Sig Sauer. Thank you, Sig, I appreciate that. So without further ado, load the first of the 2 magazines that come with it, 15 rounds each. I'm going to try and go without gloves as long as I can. I'm 10 yards from that target. Let's see how I can do with it. Any bad shots I'm going to attribute to the cold. Looks like it likes a center hold. So you want to level those sights right on the center. This trigger is very nice. You don't feel the reset much, but you hear it. Of course, I wouldn't rely on that. Ergonomics are good. It's a comfortable gun to hold. Okay, so it went click instead of bang. So that means either one of two things. Well, could be more than two, but either we have a hard primer or a light primer strike, or the slide didn't lock back after the last round, because I wasn't counting. Let's see. Slide did not lock back. Okay, so that's what I figured it probably was. So with this magazine, I don't have anything here to mark it. Slide did not lock back. All right, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep rolling for the next 15 rounds. Let's see how the slide stop works as a slide release. Not very well. Nope, not very well at all. Okay. Hold on, I gotta warm up my fingers. Thank God for these pocket hand warmers. All right, so it looks like here from 10 yards, got some scattered high, one low, so maybe it does prefer a tiny bit of a 6 o'clock hold. Let's try it and find out. So far, I like the way this gun feels in the hand. It's very comfortable to hold. The grip is nice. I like the texture in this glass-filled nylon, and it shoots well. It's a great feeling trigger. The reset, again, is not very tactile. You can hear it when we're standing out here very quiet at the range, but I wouldn't count on that. Pick up the pace a little. Okay, well, in order to make up for the time the slide did not lock back on an empty magazine, it locked back on a non-empty magazine. Now, where was I? Oh yes, trying to shoot this magazine. Okay, that's how that's supposed to work. We'll chalk that up right now to break-in jitters. Let's go reload these two magazines and shoot some more. All right, let's take a look at just the hard numbers and the specifications on this gun. The capacity of the Security-9 is 16 rounds initially. That's 15 plus 1. Comes with two 15-round magazines. Good quality steel box magazines. They are not compatible with the Ruger American pistol, though. The material of the slide and the barrel is an alloy steel. They are both blued. The barrel is 4 inches long. Overall length of the pistol is 7.24, so about 7¼ inches long. The weight of the gun is 23.7 ounces with an empty magazine. The frame is a glass-filled nylon polymer, very good quality with excellent grip texture. The width of the pistol is just a hair over 1 inch, 1.02, and the height is 5 inches. Those numbers should be important to people who might want to conceal carry this pistol. Ruger doesn't publish any numbers about the trigger weight or pull, but I measured it myself and I got just about exactly 5 pounds. It is a very nice feeling trigger. More on that in a bit. Just an opinion grip index is 3.06. So it should be a nice fit for folks with the smaller hands, and maybe the best number of all. Suggested retail price is $379, and expect that initially maybe to be close to that, but once the pipeline gets full and somebody starts having a sale, you can probably pick one of these up for right around $300. One comment about the hammer design in this gun. It is a double action only hammer fired gun. However, it has no second strike capability. So if you're going to carry the gun with a round in the chamber, which in my opinion is the only way to carry a gun, know that you better use this safety, because the only way to carry it is with a cocked hammer. You cannot decock the hammer in any way and without having a dead trigger. So basically, cocked and locked is the only way to really carry this gun, unless you wanted to not chamber around, and that's a whole different discussion. Okay, that was an ugly mess. So I have put a fresh dot on the head of the target. I'm going to try same ammo, Sig Sauer, 124 grain ball, same distance, 10 yards. This time I have gloves on. I think that might help, and I'm going to slow down. See if I can make a little bit nicer group. I do like the sights. They're pretty much, for all intents and purposes, Glock sights. As far as the sight picture goes. The rear sight is narrow, and the front blade fills it pretty well. There's a little airspace, but not too much. The trigger is smooth, very, very smooth, and you really don't visually notice the hammer at all. Handles the recoil nicely. Okay, that felt better, slowing down. The gun shoots nice. I like it. I like the way it feels. The ergonomics are good. The trigger is very good. I really don't feel any stacking or anything. If you're going to get that picky, you know, then you're obviously looking for some sort of target pistol, which I don't think anyone expects out of this. It functions very well. We had that one issue with the, two issues with the slide not locking back on an empty magazine and then locking back prematurely at one point. So that was an oddity, but again, we'll chalk that up to break-in unless it continues to happen. Gun points, nice, points natural, sight picture is good, and it shoots well. And you know, as I mentioned on the bench, when I first looked at this tiny, tiny little mag release, I thought, wow, that's going to be a problem, but no, it's easy to reach and it works nicely. Mags drop very free every time. So, I'm still disappointed that there's not a compatibility between, say, the SR or the American series with these magazines. That's kind of a disappointment. Oh, I don't know if you caught that on camera, but as I seated that magazine firmly, it dropped the slide. So we have that going on. For those of you who like that, that's a bonus. For those of you who don't, well, not a bonus, I guess. Let's go 15 more rounds to the head. Let's see if I can make some more of that orange go away. I'm not shooting my best today, I will confess. I'm freezing. And I haven't shot in a long time. I want to say it's been since mid-December, and it's almost mid-January, or it is mid-January. Today is MLK, January 15th. And it has been about a month since I've been to the range. Okay, well, the spread of the group is still bigger than I would like, but at this point I'm not going to really attribute it to anything. Me rusty, me cold, and you know, brand new gun being shot for the first time, so who knows. It is a 4-inch barrel, so we should get decent accuracy out of it at this distance. At 10 yards we should be able to put a nice fist-sized group, and so I'm not getting that, but I do like the gun. It's a nice shooter. And I'll tell you what, it's throwing this brass like, you know, 5 yards away. So it's got very strong ejection. All right, I got to show you just a little bit of close-up work here with this trigger, because this thing is, in my opinion, a really nice trigger. It's a hammer-fired gun, so you have to expect a certain amount of travel and a certain amount of creep, maybe even a little stacking and all those things. But so we've got from here to here, which is very, very little before we start to feel the resistance. And then it's very crisp, very, very crisp, and it's got a short stroke. Now the reset is not that terribly long. There's not a lot of tactile feedback, but you do have a nice audible click. And then if you wanted to let it go all the way back out, you're not that far away. So the reset really works on the same distances as the initial pull. Reset, full extension. So, but what you can't feel, and I can, is just how nice and crisp and light that trigger feels. Since the Ruger Security-9 is definitely a candidate for a self-defense gun, whether it be home defense or carry, I'm going to try 10 rounds of Sig Sauer Elite Performance Jacketed Hollow Point. I love this ammo. This is my go-to carry ammo. 124 grains also with this big wide mouth hollow point. 10 rounds of that loaded up. Let's try that. See how it does. Make sure it feeds like it's supposed to. See how it shoots. Yeah, good stuff. Shot well. Functioned perfectly. No kind of feeding issues. There's a nice ramp in this barrel. And that's not a bad group. Okay, I just want to give you a little bit of a look here into how this hammer works. You can see the hammer up in there. And it is currently not cocked, so it's fully forward. So I'm going to run the slide, cock the hammer, and now, where'd it go? Now we can see the back of the firing pin, and the hammer is right here. All right, so the cocked hammer is right there. All right, so my pointer is laying on the face of the hammer. It's all the way back. So that's where the hammer is. And again, you can see the back of that firing pin up in there. Now the reason this is classified as a double action is, watch, when I pull the trigger, that hammer is going to move slightly downward before it's released. Therefore, the trigger is doing two things. It's completing the full cock of the hammer and then releasing it to the firing pin. That's where the word double action comes from. See? Alright, let's look at that one more time, and maybe I'll slow it down so you can see just why this is considered a double action only. Now the downside is no restrike. That is a bit of a negative. Field stripping the Security-9 is pretty straightforward and easy, but it is not a tool-free operation, at least not initially, maybe after lots and lots of rounds. But this takedown pin right here needs to be removed, and it fits pretty flush. What you do is just sort of give it the normal pinch type grab that we're used to with most of our polymer framed handguns, especially, you know, the Glock type. So give it that familiar move until you just center the pin on that notch. And now we need to get a little tool just inside here. There's a little lip on the outside flat end of this pin, and we need to be able to get a little tool. You could go for a screwdriver, but a screwdriver is probably going to scratch up the bluing on your gun. This little polymer cleaning tool that I have works perfectly. I can reach in there with that and just pop it out. So now I've loosened it, I can just grab it with my finger, pull it the rest of the way out. You can see there. But let me put it back. I'll show you another way that makes it a better field strip type solution, because if you're in the field, you may not have some of those tools with you. So again, just use your pinch method to bring the slide back so the notch is centered on the pin. take an empty cartridge or even a fully loaded round if you want. You can take a live round or an empty round. Using the rimless end, put it just in there behind your pin where you have that little flat spot. There's a groove in there. You can feel it. It kind of wants to fit right in there, and then just sort of pivot it a little bit and use it as a small lever. That works too. So once you've done that, you just pull out the pin, pull the slide off the front, and there you go. Everything else, pretty normal. While we have it off, let's take a quick look. Right there is the hammer. It's a very small and thin hammer. And when it's cocked, as it is right now, it lays all the way back. And then up in here, we can see the back end of the striker or the firing pin that the hammer is going to strike and drive forward. Now, that's how it works. I have already taken it down and cleaned it and lubricated it. You can see it's nice and shiny with new oil. So before shooting the gun the first time, I do like to make sure they're well lubricated. Putting it back is simple. You just line it up the same way, put the pin in, and it goes in pretty easily. One of the things I didn't really work with doing most of the shooting today with the Security-9 was the safety. I'm sure the gloves are making it a little bit different too, but so when I push out toward the target, I have the safety engaged right now, and swiping the safety off, a little difficult without changing my grip. So I've got to work that thumb in a little bit to get to the safety, but it comes off nice and clean and crisp. It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure, so I like that. And again, the gloves probably make it a little more awkward, but you do have to sort of reach in a little bit with your thumb to get to that safety. Okay, so about 160 rounds through the Security-9. Brand new, small, thin, hammer fired, polymer framed, 9mm handgun from Ruger. My thoughts so far are that I'm not impressed with the groups I'm shooting, but there's way too many variables involved in that. I have seen some nice groups. When I shot the hollow points, produced actually the nicest group of the day with those. So certainly the gun is capable. It could be the cold, it could be my gloves, it could be me, it could be the fact that I'm rusty, haven't been to the range in a while. So there's a lot of factors there. But I'm not seeing the groups that I would like to see. And I don't think it has to do with the fact that the gun isn't going to make me or give me the opportunity to shoot well. Part of it is the sight picture. It's an okay sight picture, but it's that Glock sight picture. It's the cup and ball, as some people call it. And makes it a little bit questionable as to exactly where you should have your sights. And at 10 yards trying to shoot at something as small as that orange dot that I put on the target can be a little questionable. Function wise, the gun, I had two mishaps with one time the magazine did not lock the slide open when the magazine was empty, and shortly thereafter magazine did lock the slide open when the magazine was not empty. Both of those I attributed to the time to just sort of new and let everything break in. That hasn't happened since, so that seems fine. I did notice that, the trigger reset, as I had noticed even in dry fire at the bench, I had noticed the trigger reset is not very tactile. there's a sound, you can hear it, and it's more of a spring sound than a click, but that doesn't help you much if you're in a noisy environment. And most of the day I've had the range to myself because it's freezing, and so it's been very quiet out here, and I can hear it. But in a noisy situation, or certainly under any kind of stress, you're not going to hear that. So my advice would be treat this like a revolver trigger. And I even had one or two situations where I didn't let the reset go back far enough, and I sort of had the little pump fake going with the trigger. So my advice would be treat this like a revolver trigger. Let that thing extend all the way back out, and slap at it if you have to initially till you get a good feel for the gun. Magazine release really impresses me. As tiny as it is, it works extremely well. The serrations on the gun are very good quality. They're very grippy, both front and rear. Gloves, no gloves, it doesn't matter. You grab a hold of that slide and you've got a good grip on it and move it. Ejection was good. Ejection's actually really, it throws them quite a ways, so ejection is very healthy. Extraction, no problems. Magazines are great quality. They load pretty easy, all the way up to 15 rounds. That last round is not too difficult to get in. I don't know, I'm thinking if you've got like $300 and you're looking for a 9mm gun, especially something carry sized, I think that you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't take a look at this new Security-9. This is a nice gun from Ruger. I like it. I'm going to bring it back out here. You will see this one again. That I promise. So this has been the first 160 with the Ruger Security-9. Thanks for watching.